Okay, everyone, this is Matt here with Just for Fun. Today we're going to do another port. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. What I mean is we're going to use a deck from another format as a guide to build a deck of the same style. So this is my eye candy deck in Pauper. Now this hasn't been updated in a while, and there's definitely some changes that I need to make here. But you know, in general, here's how the deck works. It has a low number of lands. It's red and blue. It has creatures that get bigger when you play spells, like Kiln Fiend, Nivik Cyclops. And it has a whole bunch of spells that are either free, like Get Probe and Manamorphose, or cheap, like Preordain and Lightning Bolt, that let you get through to deal lots of damage to your opponent. And how else do you get through? Well, you have Artful Dodge, Distortion Strike, which also makes your guy bigger, Apostle's Blessing, which lets you get through and lets you protect your dude from harm, and Mutagenic Growth also lets you deal extra damage for free, save your guy, lots of benefits. Payoff card here being Assault Strobe, which lets you give something double strike and make it potentially lethal. So I've played this deck in Modern also. There's a different version of it that I play in Modern that I need to do a little bit of work on, but it's almost there. It's pretty close. And you know, when I was looking through previews for Fate Reforged, and I came across one particular red instant, it made me think of this deck. And you know, all the prowess creatures in blue and red in standard, and whether we could build this kind of deck in standard, right? So you see here we have 12 creatures and 30 other cards and 18 lands. So I wanted to get kind of close to that. So let's take a look at that. Right, so here's what we got. We got 20 lands, 14 creatures, 25 other cards. Wait, how did that happen? Did I just click something out by mistake? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay. There we go. 15 creatures, 25 other, 20 lands. And this is our blue-red prowess deck in standard. Now, the card that got me thinking about this was Temur Battle Rage. Because it's 2 mana pump spell that triggers prowess and you know, gives double strike and potentially trample. So it's a great way to get through for a ton of damage. There's one in the board. I'm playing 3 main deck because you don't really want 2 of them in your opening hand. And here's what I come up with. So 20 lands, including 4 reefs, 4 pain lands, 4 gain lands, erring on the side of mountains slightly because of this guy right here, Shu Yun, the Silent Tempest. First of all, look at this art. This is dope art. I mean, second of all, the flavor of this card is tremendous. The Silent Tempest, right? Like a proud monk who took a vow of silence and just beats down his enemies without talking smack, right? This is like the dude in the martial arts movie who just doesn't say anything and then all of a sudden beats the crap out of everyone, right? That's this dude right here. Look at him. He looks badass. I love this card. So all of a sudden he gives people double strike, right? That's how the card works. And you'll notice, even though he's a legend, I'm playing 4 of him. And there's a reason for that, and I'll explain that, and you'll see it in action too. But that is where our curve tops out at 3. So I'm fine playing 20 lands if I only have 4 3-drops. Everything else is a 2 and a 1, right? That's fine. Plus, there's a lot of draw and filtering in this deck, which makes it more consistent. So, what else do we have in the way of creatures? Swift Spear. Awesome threat. Been played in many formats now. Just a crazy good creature. Obsessed with this art. I think this is amazing art. 1/2 haste, prowess, can get out of control, all kinds of ways. Great card. Now, also playing Elder and Sage. So more badass prowess dudes. So this is like if the Wu-Tang Clan had a deck, it would be this deck, right? all of these badass karate movie people, right? Kung Fu movie, excuse me. And what else? These guys. So this guy has the slight upside of when he dies, he draws you a card. So he's a great blocker, and it's kind of cool to play this out and not worry about casting a pump spell on it. Because if your opponent is probably not going to want to spend his removal on this guy because you're just going to draw another card anyway. So kind of built-in protection from removal. Elder is sweet because he gives you the elders give you the knowledge, right? He gets through for damage, she gets through. You're going to be looting, and that works out really, really well because you don't want extra lands in this deck. And if this draws you into another pump spell or something like that, then you're setting up for next turn. This deck, you kind of want to kill your opponent in like 3 or 4 attacks, right? Basically, you're setting up a big attack the whole game. That's the whole game plan. Unlike in the Pauper deck where you can really just kill them in 1 attack. The cards aren't there in Standard to do that. Now, that said, I've had some amazing starts. And what else has led me to that? Well, Titan Strength is like the king of pump spells in this format. +3 to power is a lot, and all our guys have prowess. So this is a +4/+2 with the Scry built in. Scry working really well with the loot in Elder, right? Now, giving something +4 and then double strike for 3 mana is pretty nasty. Also, more double striking here, right? So anything that's going to be pumped and then getting double strike is pretty decent. Good chance of taking huge chunks of life out of your opponent. How do we ensure that we have... Nice thing about Prowess compared to Kiln Fiend, by the way, is that it's non-creature spell. So yeah, you could be playing some kind of like artifact, and there's a deck for that too. I was thinking about a combo deck involving Retraction Helix. There's actually a couple of those that I'm going to be playing soon, but I've been obsessing over this deck the last few days, so I wanted to show you guys this. Aqueous Form is just a good way to get through. So this is similar to like the Artful Dodge, right? And the Scry is nice too. It keeps you into drawing cards at the point where you're attacking, and let's say you've like 3 or 4 lands out, you don't want to draw any more lands. So this really helps you with that. Dragon Mantle, excellent in the mono red deck, probably the best card in that deck. Really helps you here. You don't often have the leftover mana, red mana, to be pumping them. So this is kind of just trigger prowess, draw a card, but that's really not that bad. Stratus Walk is excellent. Trigger prowess, draw a card, jump your dude, get in there, right? So nice that they don't all have to be instants, but some of them can be. And nicely, the burn spells also trigger prowess, so your guy gets bigger. You remove their guy. You're mostly using these as spot removal, but occasionally you can use it in a big turn to finish off your opponent. So 4 Lightning Strike for Magma Jet. Magma Jet being clutch in the early game to set up your next draws. The whole deck, you notice there's a ton of scry and filtering in the deck, as well as draw, so it's a pretty consistent deck. This deck goes for, it's both consistent and it's powerful, right? Because it can kill out of nowhere. That said, the cards aren't individually powerful; they're synergistically powerful. So you do have to have sort of a right chemistry going on in order for this to work well. But in the games I've played so far, I've done some really fun things with this deck. And hopefully we'll get to record some. One of the nice starts I had was Elder, turn 2 Elder, opponent plays Caryatid, right? Sylvan Caryatid, normal play for Abzan on the opponent's side. Attacking into that with the Elder, opponent snap blocks, and I was able to Titan Strength and then Teamer Battle Rage on turn 3. So my Elder became so that was 2-3 from the pump spells, 3 from the Titan Strength, so 6 6 power double strike, trample. So I smashed through his dude and hit him for a whole bunch of damage. He actually conceded after that play, and and that also let me loot. By the way, double strike on the Elder can let you loot twice, which is really sweet. So this is kind of like one of your favorite dudes to draw. Actually, all the dudes in the deck are great. Now, I mentioned briefly, like, yeah, this is a legend, and we have 4 of them, and usually you don't want to do that. But number 1, we got a lot of looting that ends up happening, so not a bad thing to pitch the second one if you don't need it. Number 2, the most important thing to remember when playing a deck like this is to not overcommit creatures to the board, right? Because the way you lose is by going you don't want to go all in on one dude and get blown out by a removal spell, and you don't want to play all your dudes out there and get your board wiped and then you're toast, right? So this actually forces you to keep another threat in your hand, and it's actually your biggest threat in the deck, and he can win by himself. I mean, if you are swinging in with him, let's say you have any of the other non-creature spells, right? Let's say, I don't know, Dragon Mantle, right? On the turn when you can attack with Shu Yun, Dragon Mantle him. Now he's a 4/3 double strike. So he's 8 power by himself without pumping him, without casting anything else, right? So he can end the game really quick on his own. So don't want to, just, play him out on an, like, when you don't have to. You can keep the extra one in your pocket, in your hand, for if your first one dies, if your other threats die, so you have to weigh it out. It's tricky type of deck to play, but I'm used to playing this type of deck because I played it in Pauper and in Modern. It plays out really similarly to the Kiln Fiend deck in a lot of ways. It's kind of like Infect also, where again you're going all in on one threat typically. So if you have other creatures, you're not playing all of your creatures out. Walk into like Anger of the Gods, Drown in Sorrow, and Hostilities, Crux of Fate, Perilous Wall. A lot of sweepers being played right now. So in the board, I've got the 4th Battle Rage. So this comes in against a deck that doesn't have removal. Like, let's say we're playing like a green deck, something like that. You want to just get through and get in there and kill them, right? Magma Sprays come in against, let's say, Mono Red or another weenie deck, like, low creature type deck. Force Away. This was a tip from what was the guy's name? The Wooter. Shout out anyway to guy who was helping me out. I played a mirror match before, strangely, and we were comparing deck lists, and he gave me this as a tip, and I think it could be good in the deck. I think there's a lot of places where this might be, it helps you get through, and it triggers Prowess, right? And it's a tempo play, slows your opponent down. Sometimes you just need another turn. It's good in the way that Remand is good, right? And against a deck with a lot of removal, Stubborn Denial is just a sick card in this deck. lets you just keep your creature alive. Because of the prowess, it's pretty easy to trigger the ferocious. A lot of the time, like if you have Shu Yun out, casting this is 1 mana negate, right? So pretty sweet. Disdainful Stroke, I figured, is another good reactive card. You want to swap this in against control decks. Maybe let's say you're taking out Magma Jet or something like that. Because that's not going to do as much work. So this, just could be good to keep big scary things out of your way, right? So I think all in all, it's pretty solid deck, decently put together, and I like how it works. I like how it plays. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm gonna show you a couple matches with this. And if I have time, next I guess I'll record the Pauper and the modern versions, let's say, the grandfathered, the inspiration that I drew this deck from. All right, so fun, blue red prowess. Check it out.